We are a nonprofit. We've been in existence for 36 years, since 1984. And we're just incredibly grateful for the near 37,000 lives that have been saved in the years that we've been in existence. Thank you, Lord. We don't take this ministry lightly because it's not an easy ministry, right? It's frontline ministry. And I'm thankful to meet men like Ralph who pray on the front lines on a daily basis. I know many of you do too. We were very blessed, even though we were birthed, and I joke with Denise about being her Baptist friend, right? Denise and I get to serve together, and she's like interpreting over here for me now. This is what this means, and we joke about it all the time about my Baptist ways and her Catholic ways, and but it's not new to me. My husband's best friend in college was Catholic, and so my dad was a Baptist minister, and so we blame our beer drinking on his best friend. Like, oh, it's Peacott's. It's not ours. It's his. So I confess that. The Lord's forgiven me. We're just incredibly grateful that we have a mission that we can be united around. And that's why we also, Tracy Coburn is on our board, another member here. And I've been in the short time that we've been approved by the Fort Worth Diocese, and you guys have come alongside us. We feel like we've been wrapped up in love. And so I just want to thank you for what you do, because you've come and encouraged our little nonprofit that has been running on fumes at times, right? But God has just blessed. So I wanted you to see how during a COVID year, in fact, I came on board as the executive director in October of 2019. And our current director of 35 years was retiring. And so I came into some pretty big shoes. And I came out of being a stay-at-home pastor's wife thinking I'm just going to help raise my grandbabies and enjoy my life. And God had a very clear calling. I had no idea what he was preparing me for, and my ministry experience previous would help me to come alongside this amazing team at the clinic and do what he was calling us to do. And even at the time, I had no idea a pandemic was going to hit. And then I had no idea how big his vision for this ministry really is. And in the year and a half that I've been here, he's made those two things very clear, that he's faithful and he'll carry us there. So this little page you have in front of you is just a picture of his faithfulness during a pandemic for a nonprofit. We are fully funded by donors. And so we do have some partnering churches, but honestly, a small percentage of what we receive is from our churches. What sustains us are our donors, and we're so incredibly grateful. I won't go through every piece of this. I wanted you to have it to see what God did. Our budget in 2020 was a little under $900,000, right? $874,000. And you can see what our income was when you look at that first pie chart, over $1 million. And that was the Lord. That came in all in the fall. And so Denise and I literally at times were looking at our monthly and what we needed to bring in monthly, and we would just pray. We'd stop and God, we don't know how it's going to happen, but we trust you. And every single time we'd give a specific number in prayer and a check would arrive, or an online donation would go through, and we would just praise God for that. He built our faith as we depended on him. And so I wanted you to see his faithfulness there, but also, of course, our services at the top where you see making a difference. Those pregnancy tests, that's kind of how we scale our patients. So we usually serve about 1,000 patients, but because we had to only see abortion-minded, and those are women who we know are determined for abortion, during the shutdown, then that kind of lowered our numbers. We will also see likely to carry, those who are happy that they're pregnant, they don't want to abort, but they need to come in and get a report of pregnancy to get started on Medicaid. And we get a chance to have a spiritual conversation with them while they're there, which is such a blessing. And so you can see those numbers there. We have about 91% of the women who came in the doors of our clinic in 2020 chose life. A lot of that is due to those sono machines, right? And to some amazing, amazing counselors who are just their coaches and their friends. And if they can share Jesus with these women, they will. And if the women are not open to it, then we just demonstrate Jesus to them, right? We get to love on them and tell them they're not alone, and tell them about the great love that we have for them, and hope that they want to have a spiritual conversation at a later date. So we're incredibly grateful. Look at the bottom real quick. Celebration notes. Our building is completely paid for. If you've seen us at 201 West Parkway in Euless, not right behind the QT, and real close to the hospital. So we're in a great area, good location, completely paid for. We also updated all of our medical equipment. So the 2 sono machines we have currently are brand new, and we were granted those through a mission organization. Then every room in the clinic was updated, and you guys had part of that. I think Donna Furin and other groups of ladies came and adopted a room and just have been praying over it and updating it and pouring themselves into it. So when we have a strong abortion-minded woman in that room, we can text that group and say, please pray. And there's a lot of power in that prayer, right, for those women and their decisions that they have to make. Let's see. I wanted you just to know, our STI services, and when I say STI, in my day it was called STD, and it was the thing as a Baptist minister's daughter you didn't talk about, right? But it's called STI by the CDC, right? And we just hired an MD. And the reason we did is because we need to expand this STI program. During the shutdown in COVID, we really saw some strong abortion-determined women, and it broke our hearts. We thought if we could have just reached them before they got to this hardened place. So God just began to put it in our hearts to do some sex education, health education on the health of a woman. And really, we would love to begin to go in, education program to go into the schools, to share life and when life begins, to share about health and reach young people before they get to that place. So our wonderful Dr. Steelman, whom we just hired, and that's her heart. She's a teacher at heart. And so she's already started that. She went into Holy Trinity recently and partnered with a teacher there, and really was able to bring a powerful teaching that helped enforce from a medical science perspective, what they had already been taught. So it was a powerful partnership, and we want to continue those. Also, we have we're really hoping and praying that we'll get to continue to open up our STI services. Currently, we only treat for 3 STIs or 2 STIs. We'll be treating by 3 by the end of the year. And if God continues to bless us financially, then we'll be able to do full panels. And what that allows us to do is connect with that woman, treat her health, because her life can be in jeopardy, right, if she's not treated, and really begin to form a relationship with her. Because you would be surprised, the women that we see, like London in our clinic, she had no one. She was angry with God for taking her grandmother, who was the only loved one in her life. And when you have someone who loves you sitting across from you, truly giving the love of Jesus to you and saying, you're not alone. Here's what God says, and He does this. He has this plan for you, not to give you rules, but because His plan for you is to bless you, and these boundaries are to help you live a blessed life. And help them see that from that perspective, there's power there. So that's our hope as we continue to grow. God has very clearly said we'll be reaching 5,000 women a year by 2025. We believe Him for that vision, and the only way we're able to get there is through wonderful people like you coming alongside of us. I know Bob and I have talked about this. We have a man-to-man ministry, and we have men volunteers that will come in and meet with the young man that's sitting out there in our clinic lobby wondering, what are my choices? What can I do? He's terrified. He doesn't know what to say or how to say it. And 80% of the time, if that young man will express to that woman that he's going to be in that baby's life and support her, 80% of the time she will choose life. And so our man-to-man ministry is important, and God may be laying that on your heart to be involved with us, and you could come and volunteer a few hours a week at the clinic. We would love to have you. So keep those things in mind as you hear from Denise, our Director of Development, who's a member here, right? and she is going to kind of share with you a little bit about how we operate. She does all of our fundraising, so she has a huge job, and she really leads well. So I'm excited for you to hear from her, and we just want to thank you. Thanks for taking time to listen to us.
We have been members of Good Shepherd for 12 years, and when I started at Mid-Cities Women's Clinic, like she said, it's a small ministry that actually, I don't think you talked about this. It was started by Cross City Church, which used to be First Baptist Euless. At the beginning, it was just purely a ministry of that Baptist church. And through the years, they've kind of grown and brought in some other denominations, except for the Catholics, right? Because we need approval from the diocese. So it was in my heart. I've been there 3 years. As soon as I started, I just knew we need to come together as Catholics and Protestants, as Catholic Christians and Protestant Christians, for this important ministry. So any good Catholic's going to know that took me 1.5 years to get that approval from the diocese, but I did it. Thank you. I joked that my ghetto had to come out a couple times with that one because I was getting mad, like, just give us approval. But we finally did, and I'm excited because this is a great opportunity. If you guys know anything about pregnancy resource centers, there's Catholic ones and there's Protestant ones, and this is like exciting. This is a great opportunity for us to come together as Christians, as Christians who can work together, not worrying about our differences, but coming together with our love of Jesus, with our knowledge that Jesus is our Savior, and do this important mission that we all know is important to His heart. So thank you so much. As Michelle said, my job is Director of Development. That means I raise money. And so it sounds like a hard job, but when you have a passion for it, it's really you just keep going and you know it's what you want to do. As Michelle said, we get our funding from donors. We get a small percentage from churches. We sometimes put in for a small grant from a private, what's the word I'm looking for? Group, just a private group that gives grants. But we get no government funding, and part of that is, well, that's basically because we want to do what we're going to do without worrying about the government stepping in and telling us how we can do it. But that means our donors are so important. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about where money goes. We have our monthly donors that are so incredibly important to us. During those months that we didn't know what was going to happen, we at least knew that we can count on that X number of dollars that came in from our monthly donations. But we also get so many wonderful one-time gifts. And this shows you $50 provides pregnancy test and counseling. So if you're giving $50 a month, that'll provide that for 12 women a year. A $75 gift provides sonograms for 4 women each year. That's if it's a monthly gift. And your $150 monthly gift provides all of our services and ongoing support to a woman in need. I want to point down to this number on the bottom right. $1,500 is what it costs to get all of our services. That's what we call saving a life. So if you took our budget, divide by the number of lives saved, it's $1,500 to save a life. So that just kind of gives you an idea. If you're considering donating, those are some good ideas so you know what you're providing. Some other ways that you can help, we have our life celebration dinner, and there's a little thing here to show you that Herschel Walker is our speaker. We had Abby Johnson last year, and she was phenomenal. We're like, how are we going to beat Abby Johnson? Well, Herschel Walker hopefully is going to help fill those shoes. I am personally very excited about that. It is on October 7th at the Hearst Conference Center. It is $75 for individual reservations and $500 for a table of 8. So if a group wants to come together, or if you want to buy a table of 8 and introduce new people to our ministry, we'd love to have you. We also have underwriting possibilities. Those are the people who fund the event before. So that way, if we've already raised the money to put on the event, then everything we get that night will go towards the services. And so if you're interested in that, let me know. I also wanted to let you know about a campaign we have, and I'm going to have to send, if it's okay with y'all, we'll have to send an email to the whole group explaining. It's called Double the Love, and it's a matching gift campaign. So it costs us, if you remember London saying, she Googled abortions near me, and we came up. We don't provide abortions, but when she Googled abortions near me, Mid-Cities Women's Clinic came up. Well, that's because of our marketing. It's $45,000 a year for us to provide the kind of marketing that will bring that woman to us rather than Planned Parenthood or rather than another abortion center. So this Double the Love campaign is to raise that $45,000 that it's going to cost us this year to target to reach those women that we need to reach, those abortion-minded women. So I will send an email with the details of that. But we had a matching gift of $24,700. So every dollar you donate will be matched up to $24,700. And we're doing this kind of like a peer-to-peer campaign. You may not have heard those words, but you've seen your friends say, hey, it's my birthday, and for my birthday I want you to donate to the American Cancer Society. You've all seen that on Facebook. This is kind of the same thing. We have a Good Shepherd page already set up. Bob Dwayne has his own page, and I'll send you the links. You can donate in Bob's name. You can create your own campaign, share with your friends, text them, email, and help us raise that $45,000. One more thing that I wanted to mention, with the monthly giving, we do quarterly life sponsor. We call them our life sponsors. Our monthly givers are our life sponsors. And we do a quarterly life sponsor lunch, where you get to come, hear some updates about the clinic, see a news story each time, and also meet the woman. London got to be at our last life sponsor lunch, so you get to meet her and thank her for choosing life. We have these little baby bottles. If anyone wants to take them home, I'll leave them here, and Bob could just give me any that are left over. But this is just an easy way to give. You put it on your desk, whatever, and empty change.